Morning, Scott.
Konnichiwa, Yulin-san.
We're in the PTO. First time since Starter Kit. I know you love the
Yeah.
PTO.
Yep.
We're
Back to the
playing,
jungle.
yeah, Welcome to the Jungle. We're playing a quick strike, which takes place on Munda Airfield, New Georgia, and it's American versus Japanese. No Marine Corps, just regular American. U.S. Army versus Japanese, and I believe you pick the Japanese. So let's go over your advantages and disadvantages first.
For the Japanese, they have pillboxes / fortifications, tunnels. The tunnels are included with the pillboxes for the Japanese, and then they get the advantage of dense jungle as far as defending. And then the fortifications, you can also hip them along with the units in those fortifications, so that's definitely an advantage. And they have the added advantage of conceal.
Yeah, and PTO hip
for the
is
rest of them,
different
and
too.
yeah, it's like the fortifications in PTO. It's like they take place at night with the
Right.
night rules as far as fortifications, which is
Yeah, even if I'm in line of sight
basically
of them, I can't see them
right,
until you shoot or something.
or you stumble on top of them
Right.
or something. Actually, I think you can walk right through there. But yeah, disadvantages: the Japanese OB. It looks fairly decent on paper, but when you spread out and try and cover everywhere, it's a little thin.
Yeah. And the roar balance for Japanese was 22 wins. Let me go over the American advantages and disadvantages. Had some elite units, had better leadership and smoke ability. I think all of my units had decent smoke. Smoke exponent of 3, if I recall. Disadvantages: dense jungle. I'm slogging through the jungle. And time. I have to slog through all this jungle and bypass, get around all this swamp and marsh to get off the board. And the roar balance for the Americans is 23 wins. So a pretty balanced scenario, at least with 45 playings that are on record. So let's go over the Japanese actual setup and your plan for defense.
Well, originally, I had the 4 pillboxes, right? And I originally wanted to set them up. There's not a lot of line of sight, not a lot of fire lanes, too much jungle and marsh and whatnot. But I wanted to maybe try and set them to where they could cover each other, because that's one of the disadvantages of pillboxes. It's just kind of a narrow field of fire. But I looked at it, and there's like well, you get victory points for capturing a pillbox too. So it's like, well, if I group them too close together, then it's gonna make it easier on you to capture them. So I just ended up spreading them out, try and cover the whole width of the board as I could.
Yeah.
And then I used the tunnels for escape avenues, and
Yeah.
set some dummies up towards your starting area to maybe throw you off, but about it.
Yeah. So for my plan of attack, I basically spread out across the front there, right up against the setup line. And my original plan wasn't to actually go looking for pillboxes because I knew it would slow me down, and I get 2 victory points for each one I capture or destroy, but I could easily lose a squad taking each one, and that they would kind of cancel each other out. So my purpose was, I was just going to move through the jungle, and if I ran across one, I would try to take care of it at the time. But my point wasn't to actually go hunting for pillboxes. My point was to get across the board as quickly as possible. And as we'll see, I ran into every one of your pillboxes.
Yeah.
That's just the way it worked out. So yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
you've got a fair amount of time. You got 7 turns, and it's not like you have that far to go. But so I
No,
mean, you have a decent amount of time.
no, but yeah, dense jungle is kind of slow. Um, and then every time I run into one of your units, a pillbox, there's one right there. I stumbled right across it, open ground. I think you smoked, I don't know, a squad or 2 right there on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, what's that? Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pillbox.
boom, pillbox. Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, I lost some victory points early right there. But
I think my
go ahead.
I think my sniper took out your leader already too.
Yo, yeah. Well, he was a 9-2 or 1, I believe. Yeah, right where your
Yeah.
sniper counter is. Boom.
Hmm.
On my first roll, I think it was a morale check or something. He killed him.
Yeah.
That hurt.
That
Because
wasn't good.
that was like 3 victory points right there. He took out. So I'm over on the right, and I'm like, okay, I stumbled across a pillbox. I guess I should try to take care of it since it's here. And I try to get into the jungle over there, and I eventually work on the pillbox. Most of your guys up front there were dummies, and I just kind of ran through them
Hmm.
in the center.
I had a squatted up with a mortar in that entrenchment though, up on the that kind of surprised you too.
Yeah, yeah. I thought,
But
yeah, I had a couple squads, I think, where that acquired counter is. I was gonna run them
mhm.
around that marsh, and you had a trench in the kunai there, unloaded on me.
I was a little disappointed. My guys didn't do a lot of as much damage as I thought they would in the beginning. Uh, you kind of seemed to just work your way through it fairly easily.
Yeah, in yeah, I jumped in the melee and the guys in the trench, and then there's some units right there in the center. I jumped into close combat with those, and then I jump on top of the bunker that I ran across on the right. We had to work through some pillbox rules there. A little rusty on that.
Uh, well, and they have the tunnels for escaping, but you can only move through the tunnel during your movement phase.
Yeah.
So it doesn't if you advance in there, I'm kind of stuck in there. You can take because they each pillbox would only hold one squad equivalent, right? So
Mhm. You could route out of them, can't you?
oh, through the tunnel,
I
but you
assume.
can't you can't voluntarily break in a pillbox. I don't think
I
so.
don't remember.
There was something about that,
Maybe.
and yeah, you're pushing hard down through the center now.
Yeah, in hindsight, we always say that after we played a scenario. Everybody probably does, but if I were to replay this again as the Americans, I would probably just spearhead everything right down the center because at most I would run into maybe 2 pillboxes down the center, and like the one way over on the right that I spent a turn or two messing with,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have even run across it.
Yeah, I mean, you get victory points for them, but then again, if you just like don't take the chance of losing anybody and just forget about them, because
Yeah.
uh, my well, that was kind of what the idea with the tunnels was like if you did just like totally bypass them, I could maybe use the tunnels to like pop up right behind you or something.
Mm,
Maybe get some guys trapped in route situations and stuff, but
yeah. Well, I think I outright took 2 pillboxes. I think you abandoned 2, and I took them. But the
yeah.
2 that I took, I mean, I know I lost units taking those, so it was probably like an even, as far as victory points go, I gained what I lost. So yeah, in hindsight, I probably just push everything right down the center in a big American mass through the jungle.
Yeah, and you found another pillbox. This one had my best leader 9-1
On the left there, is that where he was? Oh no, in the
in the
center.
center.
In the center,
Yeah,
yeah,
with had a crude medium machine gun.
yeah. That slowed me down a bit, and that lone 447, I think he's in palm trees or maybe in the clear
Yeah,
there, slowed me up too because they're surrounded by marsh or swamp on either side, kind of that center area. So I had to clear those guys out either through close combat or multiple striping and then eventually breaking to actually move through there. Otherwise, I have to go around it. So it's kind of created a blocking action. It's all jammed up.
yeah. This was. I mean, you probably spent more time in this area than you did elsewhere.
Yeah.
during the game, I think.
Yeah. And then my guys over on the right that took that pillbox, they either had to spend a turn going through that swamp hex in P2 or loop through the dense jungle, and that slowed them down too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of marsh and swamp
Mm-hmm.
on here, which you kind of have to avoid.
Yeah,
It's
it's a slow moving map. I don't have far to go, but it's pretty slow.
well, and you just never know. I mean, it's like it's the same thing with ASL all the time. I mean, you could run some guys just not worry about it, but then it's the dice. You get a bad dice roll, could
Mm-hmm.
cost you.
It did at the end.
Oh, don't spoil anything.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
no, it's like, oh yeah, I think you found all the bunkers now. Oh no, no, there's still one
there's
more.
one more, but I
Yeah,
suspected where it was. I suspected where all four of them were because they were pretty much where I would have put them too. There it is.
yeah, I think we probably played each other too many times. I think maybe
Well,
that
there's
time.
not many options to
No, not
put
really.
them
Yeah,
really, because the one in the center is a choke point. That's a good place to put it. The one in the middle right has kind of a clearing to cover. That makes
yeah,
sense. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of places to put them. That makes sense.
yeah. The middle right's got decent field of fire
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. And if I want to go around it, I have to go through that swamp, or run in the open around it, or jump through it somehow to get around that one.
I think it's probably, let's see, we're on your turn 5. You've got 2 turns left. I think it's probably this point where you're starting to add stuff up, and because you've
Yeah.
got to get off the board, you've got to get 16 victory points.
Hmm. I have
I
two
think
so
you,
far
yeah,
from that bunker pillbox up to
2,
there.
but you're about ready to get another bunker, I think. So, I mean, there we go. I'm using my tunnels to kind of escape.
Hmm.
I didn't want to get trapped in them again. I knew I had, if I got trapped, I can come to getting down to like almost no units left. I think I got just like 2 squads, maybe 2.5 squads or something.
Yeah. So I jumped in the one on the left just to get 2 points. That was easy 2 points. And then I jump in the one on the right. So yeah, actually captured two and you gave up two, essentially. Here I am. I'm like, okay, I need to get moving. I got that
Yeah.
pillbox, so I am able to run through the clearing, and then I'm working through the center there.
And now it's at this point where we're getting to the last turn, and I'm like, I've got 2 units left and trying to cover. And the one on the lower right, I'm like, oh, I think I've screwed up. I don't have. You could skirt and Bill get shot at you,
Hmm.
and it's gonna be game over. I thought I'd lost for sure at this point.
Well, I thought the line of sight in L8 was blocked from that swamp hex.
So did I. It
So I
looked
thought I
blocked.
could just run around because I have plenty of victory points like queued up to get off. I'm like, oh, I got this. And I start running, and like, oh, it's clear. And you
Yeah, we
take,
checked it. Yeah,
yeah,
we checked it right there. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
it's barely clear, right there.
so yeah. So I took a shot at the medium.
One residual.
One hindrance left one residual.
Pinned. I'll just advance those guys off. If I go, this guy breaks, I think. Yep, broke. This guy couldn't make it, so he had to just run straight through. Broke. Okay, these guys, I got a chance. So I think I moved one guy up to try to pop out smoke for cover. Hero
I
doesn't
don't
count.
remember.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't remember what you needed exactly. You needed like 5 more victory points off, or 3 more, or something.
Uh, that's game over. Yeah. So the victory points in the lower left there, 8, that's not accurate. I wasn't updating it as we were playing because I didn't get everybody off. Like the guys over in M10 would have advanced off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, if I'd advanced those guys off, we just ended it here during my movement phase. I think I would have gotten 15 points off and I needed 16. So I lost by one victory point basically because of that damn one residual firepower.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was making this video, if I would have done things in a different order, it would have increased my chances. But again, that's another hindsight moment. But I noticed that when I was making this video, putting it together, like, oh, if I would have done this first or whatever, that would have helped a lot. But one
Well,
residual, I'm
that's
like, I got
hindsight.
this.
Yeah, but then you stop think about it. I mean, you got 6 morale units, so if
True.
you're taking a pin check, you got to roll
Five.
6 or less.
A
If it's
five in this situation, I need a five because I can't pin,
right,
right?
if it's a pin check, but if it's a
Yeah.
morale check, you got to roll 5 or less. If it's a +1 morale check, you got to roll a 4 or less. So
Yep.
to keep from pinning. So
Right.
yeah,
But it was one residual,
yeah,
and that wasn't even plus and one hit. Well, it was a straight one residual in this case. So they were like one minus one shots, right? But
yeah. I
they
think I
added
just
up.
yeah. Well, I basically got a couple lucky rolls on that
Yeah.
with that one.
Yep.
Couple good rolls to get a result, and that's about all it took. 'Cause
And tail of the dice. I overall my dice were actually a little bit better than yours, but at the end, because of my morale six, they weren't good enough apparently. just to get those piddly ass pin checks and morale checks that I think you got at the end on that one residual.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my dice, and it's like, you've got twice as many. Looks like twice as many snake eyes, and then I've got like almost 3 times as many box cars as you do.
And you
Yeah,
still got the victory.
well, yeah, it wasn't much of a victory, but
Hey,
that was a
victory,
good
victory,
scenario. It was
victory.
close.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah,
close. When it comes down to one victory point or something like the last close combat roll, it's a good scenario.
yeah, it was fun.
But I think I dawdled too much in the center, uh, and spending time on that right pillbox only because I ran into it and then having to loop around. I recommend anyone playing this as the Americans just brute force it straight down the middle with all your power.
Yeah, you might lose a couple squads, but I mean, yeah,
Yep.
chances are you're going to run past most of the Japanese defenses.
Yep. Good scenario. We're playing PTO next. Oh, the Sang Shack Redemption is next.
Yeah.
Another Japanese American scenario. You take the Japanese again. No, I took the Gurkhas. You ended up with the Japanese. I wanted that 8 morale. We'll see you then.
Alrighty. Bye.
Sayonara.